Hey everyone! Did you know when the northern hemisphere gets summer, the southern one gets winter? It makes summer updates feel a bit like a kick in the shins, to be honest. I am very cold right now. Please send me your heat. I know you are having a heat wave, stop hiding the heat from us. Well, the new maps have been out for a while. There's 10 of them. More maps for the map pile. And finally I have some time to make a video about them. So here's a belated assessment of TF2's Summer 2025 maps. The first map I played on was Citadel, and the first thing I saw was a sentry on a man vs machine tank like a damn jump scare. This seemed kind of overpowered to have a tank on the cart, but it turns out sticking it out in the open also makes it really easy to take down. I found a dispenser or even a teleporter is a better option for the payload. It's still a really cool feature to see. Citadel does feel like a de-Halloweenified map to a degree, but as far as I can tell it's a 100% non-Halloween map. It's also really big. I didn't reach the end playing as either red or blue for the first few rounds while everyone was learning the map. I do notice it's really easy for red to stonewall past the first point, which has grinded most of my games I've played to a halt. Then a bunch of rage quits. Then a bunch of auto balances, followed by more rage quits. Despite this, it looks really awesome. The castle far in the distance is impressive and imposing with its arch buttresses, those things. There are also so many staircases. I did get lost in the stair maze a few times. Set on a rusty oil rig, Blowout is a small and claustrophobic King of the Hill map. That's not a bad thing. This isn't like Junction bad, but I was able to get quite a few backburner kills before the enemy team caught on to the fact I was running around in circles over and over to kill them as they ran out of spawn. I found this map to not be the most NG or sniper friendly map. Not impossible to play as them, but not great either. I've also found having a big thing in the middle of the point to be a fun choice. It acted as both a nice bit of cover I could rotate around, and I could also dodge multiple rockets while capping the point. Overall, not a bad map at all, but fans of open spaces and rocket jumping around might not like this one. The first thing I noticed on Folar was the awesome skybox, with the little lightning cracks off in the distance. Holy moly, that looks really cool. I'm pretty sure I helped playtest an earlier version of this map. The layout seems familiar to me. Someone pointed out in the game that we were playing that it looked a bit similar to the Steam VR TF2 home, and yeah, I can see that a bit. Unfortunately, while recording my team was on attack, we were against 4 of the best engineers I've ever seen, and it got quite unbalanced. Aside from that one time, it feels like a very balanced attack defense map. I've only really had good games on it since then. Really enjoying Folar, but my Warhammer Poison Brain keeps telling me to think of Fulgrim when I read that name. Oh dear. Oh no. That's not good. Another oil rig, that's really hard to say. Another oil rig map, and it's King of the Hill as well? Dang. Demolition may be even smaller than Blowout, but it is more open. Apparently paths change depending on who owns the point, but I didn't really notice this while I was playing. Somehow, despite being more open to roof, this map also feels quite cramped for what it is. A lot of pyros were running around trying to air blast people off in the water around the point when I was playing too. I do like this map, but I can't help but feel it needs something more. What more is I can't say, but it needs it. Boardwalk is laughter. A good map, don't get me wrong, but it's de-Halloweenified laughter. There is some cool stuff here like the magic mirror effect, which I really want to know how it was done. I imagine somehow with Funk Monitor, and laughter is a good map, so I'm not upset about playing it outside of Halloween. I do have to wonder why Slaughter was not chosen instead. Maybe it was too morbid or too different? I can't really think of any other reason. Something I've seen a few players mention is a lot of the new Capture the Flag maps play like King of the Hill maps without a center point. I don't think that's incorrect. I think pressure would work well with multiple game modes, to be honest. but I'm mostly just glad mappers are still making capture the flag maps, even if the mode is dominated by 2-foot and turbine, and kinda gets clowned on by most people in the community. I really like how this map uses water, but it's quite easy for engineers to camp in the underground tunnels. Not the end of the world, but very irritating to deal with. And of course, water means pyro sharks. Blue side reminds me of the aquarium in an Animal Crossing game, and has a nice shooting gallery, while red side is sadly just a generic base. Really wish red side had some more going for it. You also get some nice spectator cam views of the bases from the outside. What a nice touch. Cargo is the map I seem to be getting the most game time on. Set on, surprise surprise, a cargo ship. It has a narrow layout that works really well for tunneling players towards objectives. I like the round corners and doorways. You can also add this map to the rare genre of map that is also a moving vehicle. Most games on this map turn into a bum rush for the first point, followed by a decent defense from red on the final point. It's quite a simple map and I think that works out in its favour. I will say it comes off as a bit plain, but I wouldn't know how to add much more detail to a cargo ship map, to be honest. Overall, quite like this one, and I can see it getting the most playtime out of all the new maps for the understandable layout. This is the Pyro Shark map. Might be the map I've seen water used as a feature on the most. I find a lot of shotgun battles happen in the water as well. Forcing players to engage in the wet is a really good choice that I think really paid off for an interesting and well designed map. It may even end up being my favourite of all the maps included the more I play on it. The layout took a while for me to get used to, but once I did I found it to be a very creative use of space, fitting for an underwater base. Some parts of this map remind me of Hadal from last year, but more brighter in theming. One problem I ran into quite similar to Pressure is how overpowered sentries can be well in place underwater, especially when an engineer pulls out the Wrangler. That just seems to be a water map problem in general, unfortunately. Aside from that, I really like it. I hope it gets more playtime. For some reason, with all this variety, it feels like forever since we just had a nice, mostly alpine themed map. Conifer fills that role very well for me. This map reminds me of Moss Rock in terms of game feel. Maybe a bit smaller but still quite balanced with a lot of side paths, making it pretty even for both red and blue team to do their role. First point isn't very memorable to be honest, but everyone clap for the Akira elevated death pit. This alone makes me really like the map. Such an interesting way to incorporate a death pit, and I swear end of round everyone just jumps down it for the hell of it. It's great. We need more of this. Just a big place for everyone to die at the end. Rats, we are the rats. MC Rats in the Manhole, rats. Manhole continues the TF2 tradition of adding an extra N to the word man. Kinda like how the letter C is swapped with K in the Mortal Kombat universe. That's how you know you've drifted into it. Once I went to a coffee shop where they swapped the C's with K's, and I was absolutely terrified Sub-Zero was gonna rip my spine out at any moment. Fatality. This is a lovely dirty city themed map with some rats running around. Cockroaches too. I wonder if they're made using V scripts. There are some other fun Easter eggs around if you know where to look. I am a sucker for city themed maps and I am all for this. Another smallish feeling King of the Hill map, but I still quite like it and it's balanced and fun to play on and run around in. I like how players are funneled towards the center point on this map, like you really have to be trying to get lost. And most of the fighting happens around the point like it should. Now I think about it, Blowout had something similar going on too. All these new maps are great. Can't deny some are better than others, but there's no stinkers or things too out of place. I can see maps like Cargo and Conifer becoming favourites with the community, and I really hope some of the more experimental maps like Aquarius and Pressure continue to get love from players as well. Seeing some of the stuff pulled off in these maps have left me wondering what parts were just good old mapping tricks, and which parts were V-script voodoo madness. I do have to wonder how many more years of 10 map updates we can take before it's too much, as the map lineup is already very bloated. Well, let's see for a possibly soonish new MVM update, and for what I feel might be a smaller than usual Halloween 2025, and see how many more maps get introduced. For now, I'm going to go back to play these maps while they're still hot, because I really like them. Rats, we are the rats, MC rats and manhole rats.